All right, so we are live. So uh, today I got a special guest. Today I got the Don of Watch Alongs, BX Sports Jedi. Kev, how are you?
What's going on, man? What's up, Mike? Good evening, good afternoon to everyone watching us here on the channel, man. Don't forget, hit like and subscribe. It's totally free. It doesn't cost nothing at all. It's totally free. Just slide over your mouse, hit where it says like. If you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. That is all part of the package. Free, 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 free.
Yes, it is. So how you doing? How after last night's win?
After last night's win, the morning was so refreshing. You wake up, five. You think of the number
Yep.
five in a row. All things are
5 in a row.
good. And
Yeah,
the beautiful thing is you got the loss of the Tampa Bay Rays and the
yep.
loss of the Blue Jays. Oh man.
Yes. So that really helps. That you said it yesterday on my live stream that they were 29 games out before clinching or something, but now that number has shrunk 2 or 3 games because of the losses of Tampa and Toronto, and then our win over Oakland last night. So that's nice to know.
The magic number keeps shrinking every time the Yankee win, combined with the losses of our foes in the American League East. It gets shrinking. Oh man, it is a pleasure to get Yankee Morning Brew. Hector, what's
Hector, how's it going, brother?
I'm good, brother. I'm good, brother. Just give me just 2 seconds. Sorry, I just had technical difficulty. Couldn't normally
No
tune
worries,
out
man.
with my normal setup, but I'm here.
No worries.
But all is well in Yankee land. 5 games in a row. All is well. I know
Cole
it was
pitched
the Oakland
great.
A's. Cole pitched great, minus that home run. Normally Cole gives up multi home runs in a game, but we good right now. 200 strikeouts as well. He is
Yep.
on pace to break Ron Guidry's strikeout record for the Yankees. So that's something to look forward to.
Yes. That
I
is very key.
believe what 249 is the record, or 248 if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
248. 248 for the Louisiana.
So that would be pretty cool to see him break Gators' record off of that this year.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I know his numbers.
I know a lot of Yankee fans. There's a portion of Yankee fans that aren't fully happy with Garrett Cole, but honestly, he hasn't missed a start. He's been dominating with us, for his first 3 years. So I'm good with what we're getting from Garrett Cole. Is it the Garrett Cole we was expecting? No, but hopefully he can be in this playoff run.
Well, yes, but his numbers aren't that good this year. They aren't as good as previous years, I should say. But he has been the only pitcher to show up every start, like you said. He has stayed off the IL, like you said, Hector. And as you pointed out yesterday, Kev, he has been the only starter to consistently pitch 6 or more innings every game that he started, which is what we needed this year.
Indeed,
So-
indeed.
So that helps. But to get to last night's game for the recap, Yankees won 3-2. The star of the game was Aaron Judge on the offensive side with that massive 3-run shot that he hit off of former Yankee J.P. Sears. So all rise to that. And then on the defensive side, Cole was the star with his 7 in the third innings pitched. 3 hits given up, 1 run given up. That was on the solo shot. 11 strikeouts, which is more Cole-esque, as we've known over the years of him pitching. Getting 10 or more strikeouts every game, throwing 7+ innings. That's what we expected out of him. We got that out of him. So we couldn't ask for more. Out of 110 pitches. He also had walked 2, but it didn't come back to bite him. The one thing I noticed, and I mentioned this to you last night, Kev, was when the catcher's interference had happened, that would have normally unraveled him. He did not let that get to him. He bared down and got out of that inning. And that was so important for him last night, was to see how he was going to handle that adversity. What do you I'll pass that question I want to both of y'all throw it around, and then we'll get into the next thing. What about you? What do you think about that, Kev?
Right after that E4, after that A2, he walked Jonah McBride, and now you have first and second, and you're like, but it was 2 outs. You're like, oh, here we go, or actually 1 out, and usually the wheels of the bus goes rattling, but he hunkered down. He got back-to-back strikeouts, got out of that inning, and here you go, handed it right over to the offense, and then usually, like you said, it unravels. He barreled down there, especially prior to him getting on the mound. That was a little spat that he had when he was defending Judge when he got hit up and all over Menard. So, that fieriness, I'm glad that bulldog mentality came onto the field last night. I hope going forward he carries that bulldog mentality for the New York Yankees, that barrel. And also the offensive hero. I know you mentioned Judge, but we cannot go underrated. Was Oswaldo Cabrera. He had a 3-for-4 night.
Yes.
Phenomenal night by that young kid.
Oswaldo Cabrera absolutely did steal the show. And Hector, this is where I throw it to you because you have on several occasions on the Yankees Morning Brew talked about Oswaldo Cabrera. So I refer to you when we come to him. But he has been the shining star of this Yankees team since being called up. He has played phenomenal defense. His hitting is coming around. I think he's 90 now. What do you have? What are your thoughts on that, Kev or Hector?
First of all, on perfect points about Garrett Cole. I agree with you 100%. But with Cabrera, he's just showing us if you give the young kids an opportunity, let's see what we can get out of them. It's either going to be that or 210 from Aaron Hicks. So what we're seeing from Cabrera is something that I can say that as Yankee fans, we love to see our team win. But if we have a player that's homegrown, we're going to root for them no matter what. No matter what that player is going through, we're going to root for them. And Cabrera has won Yankee fans' heart with his hustle, with his energy that he brings to the field, when him being in right field, his first roll call from the bleacher creatures, like everything that you're seeing from this kid, you just got to love. And a big takeaway also, if you guys haven't seen last night's post game with him being interviewed, he talked about getting his reps in the outfield and right field because he was injured for a portion of the season in the minors, and he used that time, even though he was injured, to work in the outfield shagging balls. So this just goes to show you about his work ethic. It could have been very easy for him just to be injured and just to do normal rehab. No, he was doing his rehab program, and he was working on shagging balls in the outfield just so he could add a little bit more versatility to his game. So I'm loving what we're seeing from.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. Cabrera, his work ethic is second to none. As you said, he was injured and still going out and shagging fly balls. That's not something we see from big leaguers nowadays. I'm injured. I'm going to go do my rehab program and sit on the bench and twiddle my thumbs. That's not something. So what Cabrera does is not something that we see on an everyday basis. Kev, I'll throw this to you. Do you think that Oswaldo Cabrera can make the postseason roster and make a difference? And then throw it over to Hector.
Yeah, like I was mentioning you yesterday on your program. Oswaldo Cabrera, I'm not comparing the same players, but he's giving us the Andrew Velasquez injection of youth, of spark. Remember, and also we don't have an Allen. Remember how they came in last July, and the team was kind of lethargic. They sparked the Yankees, and they went on a roll. They, they played a different style, different hustle, a little bit of energy, and you saw the Yankees went 13-game winning streak last August to close out that month. This month, a little bit spark of Oswaldo Cabrera. You sprinkle some guys here and there, and return of Giancarlo Stanton. You also maybe Bader. Maybe some of the trade guys start fitting in with some good club bullpen, and off you go. But this time you use this momentum, you ride yourself into a postseason, like you said. Hey, you never know. He might continue this hot streak where he might turn into a Shane Spencer and get on the postseason roster, steal that opportunity away from someone who's having a lethargic September. Anything can happen, especially a guy like you said, had the work ethic from a Cabrera and that hunger, that desire. I think it's going to propel you. Motivation is always the key to anyone's success, and if he has that drive, sky's the limit.
Yeah, agree. I couldn't agree more. Hector?
Yeah. 100% agree, Kev. Because one thing about Cabrera that stands out to me is we talked about his energy, right? His intangibles. To me, that's something that it's not in a scouting report, right? One thing that I noticed from going to see the many Yankees minor league system, minor league games down in Tampa, down over in Brooklyn with the Johnson Battle Veteran, is that from an early stage in their career, they're taught to do the Yankee way, right? A lot of people may like the traditional Yankee way, but in 2022, you need that extra bit of energy. Now, I'm not saying that the Yankee way is the bad way. No, I'm not saying that whatsoever. But interjecting an extra type of energy, like a Oswald Cabrera, could just add and could just give a spark plug to a veteran team so they can pick it up and go forward for 162 games. We're in the dog days of the summer. August is the dog days of the summer. Cabrera came up at the right time when the Yankees were playing horrible, when the energy in the dugout, and credit to Aaron Judge for being, the unnamed captain of this team. But Aaron Judge pointed it out, and he kind of called out the players, and Aaron Boone was a bit taken back from it when he said that this dugout, it doesn't have the same energy like it had before. And interjecting a young Oswaldo Cabrera, yes, Esteban Florio gets brought up and gets sent down. I would love to see him up here with an opportunity, but Oswaldo Cabrera just brought an extra life and gave an extra life to this veteran team. So now you see guys like Rizzo, now you see guys like Judge smiling a bit more in that dugout whenever Oswaldo Cabrera is getting hits. You saw it yesterday when they pointed to the dugout the day before when he almost had that home run, how everybody was standing up and excited for him because they thought it was a home run. So I think Oswaldo will make the postseason roster. Unfortunately, I have to agree with Jason from 161 River Ave earlier when he put up the video with him and Halal when he talked about Marwin Gonzalez probably being the odd man left out, and I think Marwin's going to be the odd man left out, and Oswaldo Cabrera is going to take his spot.
I agree with that. I guess this now poses an interesting thought. With Oswaldo Cabrera here, Marwin most likely being the odd man out, do you think this helps Aaron Judge's offseason decision to stay with the Yankees, or does it affect his decision to go, or does it have any effect at all going into this offseason, which is a contract year for him, and we know he's going to get paid? Look at the numbers he's put up this year. But do you think that this kid, Oswaldo Cabrera, has made the impact needed for Judge to make that decision either to stay or to go? Hector, I'm going to throw it to you and throw it to Kev.
Well, with the Aaron Judge situation, right? As Yankee fans, selfishly, we want Judge to be back, right? But let's take our fandom and let's take us out of the equation. Put yourself in Aaron Judge's shoes, right? Kevin, Mikey, right? Put yourself in Judge's shoes. If you're Aaron Judge and you're looking around at this team, you got to think to yourself, is this team going to be competitive over the next 10 years, right? And we had a lot of rumors after the trade deadline that the Yankees were trying to get off Josh Donaldson, the Yankees were trying to get off Aaron Hicks. So it shows that they're trying to move away from those type of players and interject the youth. If you're Aaron Judge and you're seeing, all right, Cabrera's coming up, he's performing, that's something you got to be excited for. And when you have Anthony Volpe, Jason Dominguez in the minors, if you're Aaron Judge, you got to think like, all right, cool, I may have some young guys that I may be able to count on for the next 5 to 10 years while I'm here, while I start to decline in age, because Judge is 30, 31. He gets an 8-year extension. He's going to be 35 in the middle of that contract. If you're Judge, you got to think to yourself, can I rely on Volpe and Dominguez to be who they are? Or could I rely on the Yankees front office, period, to even make the moves that they need to make to add play pieces around me? Now, when it comes down to it, I think Judge ultimately will stay with the Yankees, but I think that's something that he has to consider. And us as fans, take us out of the equation and put yourself in Judge's shoes. What would you do?
100% agree. Kev?
I think the Yankees are the front runner for a couple reasons. Mm-hmm. I think they're going to judge his love of playing center field. I think if the Yankees if he tells the Yankees, I want to play more center field, you got it. I think that's I know the position, money talks, BS walks, of course. But if they give him the opportunity, we really don't have a up and coming center fielder. You like that position, what he says he does. He's been vocal about it. Also, this is the Yankees. When was the last time they finished under 500?
20-some years ago.
Exactly. 1992. So
Yeah.
you're talking about a nice, close to a 30-year run. This team, no matter what, even though they're going to always retool, rebuild because there's expectations on that, and they want to keep that stadium filled. They're always going to try to put a winner product by hook or crook. And now that we've seen that, a little bit, I don't want to get ahead of you, Mike, but now that we've seen that the general manager possibly is extended, it's going to be here longer than this year. He's gonna continue to build that same philosophy of winning and not have a rebuild or under 500 under his watch. So that might pursue the judge to say, you know what, they're gonna give me a better chance to win here. That I'm revered, I'm larger than life in the city that never sleeps. Um, but money talks, BS walks at the end of the day. But we shall see there. I think Judge doesn't go either. I think Judge stays in New York, and it's just going to get resolved. I think it's just for us. It's just stirring us up and getting us agitated as fans, antsy, and that's part of the mark. In a wrestling term, we're becoming marks for it.
I agree with
If I could just add on to Kev's point, you make a beautiful point, Kev, when you bring it back to 92. And the Yankees have had a consistent run of being competitive, being over 500, not finishing under 500. Let's point to the 80s, right? Because even in the 80s, a lot of people talk about those are the bad days for the Yankees, but the Yankees had the highest winning percentage in the 80s. If today's playoff structure was the same way in the 80s, the Yankees would have been in the playoffs every year. Every year they would have been in the playoffs. And who knows, maybe they would have went on a run with Dave Winfield and Don Mattingly in the playoffs because people get hot in October. You never know, so pump the brakes. All these doomers that like to say it's over, this team is trying. No, the Yankees have been a consistent team, putting competitive teams out there, being competitive in the sport.
I agree 100% with both of what you guys are saying. I'm going to play devil's advocate a little bit here on this. I'm going to take what Kevin said and what you said, Hector.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, you're right. Money talks, BS walks. It's if you're going to show me the money, show me the money. Now, let's say we get to the offseason. Yankees are in negotiations with Judge, trying to work out a contract. And then all of a sudden, you've got a team like Seattle who just signed Julio Rodriguez to that massive contract, which I sent both of you the article about if you wanted to read it. His incentives are more than the contract itself because that team option brings it up to 18 years worth $475, which makes him the highest paid player today, pitcher or fielder. Or now you go and you get, I don't know, let's say you have San Francisco who's looking to make a run, and you have those two competing against the Yankees. Let's say they each offer him, I don't know, an 8-year deal, $300 million each of them, and then one gives an option for an extra year as an incentive to stay healthy and play well, but the Yankees don't. I could see him saying, look, I appreciate my time in New York, but the money's there. They're offering me that money, and I may want to explore my options out there. So I could see that happening too. But at the end of the day, going back to what you guys said, I do think he does stay. I do think the Yankees will smarten up and say, look, he has been the vocal leader of this team for the last year and a half. It's time to give him the money. It's time to pay the man what he is rightfully earned, especially with the numbers that he's put up this year and how he's carried his team, especially in that first half of the season.
Yeah.
So I think that plays a factor into his decision process. But at the end of the day, I do agree with both of you. I do think he does stay, and we do re-sign him.
Yeah, and let me add to this real quick. Do you don't think that the Yankees have a contingency plan if Judge walks anyway? I mean that it's the Yankees, well prepared organization. They got plan A, B, and C. We might not like it, but they have some plan.
You're not wrong. They do. They always have
Yankee fans. I've done a video when diving into the Yankees finances. Jason on 161 River Ave as well done a video about diving into the Yankees finances, right? So just hypothetically, if the Yankees were to give Aaron Judge a contract, say like $38 million a year, right? Let's put that number in our
Okay.
heads. If the Yankees can move off of Josh Donaldson's contract, which is 20 to 25 million, then you have Aaron Hicks's contract, which is 9.5 million next year. Remove the 17 million that Aaron Judge is making this year, combine that with Donaldson and Hicks, and that's 48 million. If you give Judge 38 million a year, you're saving $10 million right there from what you're paying already this year. So we could go out there and add additional. The Yankees may be able to re-sign Judge, and would Yankee fans hate it if they went for Rafael Devers to play third base since we're going to trade Josh Donaldson? You never know. That could be an option right there. If we can move off of Donaldson and Hicks's contract, we can literally just substitute that, and that's Aaron Judge's contract, and still go out there and get a player at 200 mil.
Don't forget you've got Chapman and Britton coming off the books as well. So that's another close to 40, 50 million right there, because you got Britton making 10, 15.
That's Rob. Yeah,
that's exactly right.
That's his salary right there for the year. Britton and Chapman.
So my next thing that I had was about last night's game, which I thought was mind-blowing, which was last night the Yankees left 19 men on base. Oakland only left 11, and we still managed to win that game. That goes to show you that you may be struggling, but it doesn't matter if your pitching is on point and your hitting is on point. And the fact that we left 19 men on base and still won 3-2 says something about this team. That this team does have fight. Now forget about what everyone else says for a second. Putting this into perspective, the Yankees had their chances to score more runs, but they didn't. They scored 3 runs. During that month and a half that we were losing, that would have been like, we're going to lose. We're not scoring anymore. Let's throw in the towel, be done with it. And they would have lost that game. Now, on the flip side, we're going back to the 8 months of April, where now they're fighting for wins and they're playing for wins. They're not just saying, we're going to roll over and die. We're going to keep fighting and keep pushing to get that win. So I thought that was interesting. Kevin, what do you think about that?
You're right. I've always mentioned the Yankees, you need 27 outs to get to – you got to use all 27 outs to beat the New York Yankees, well, except for that rough patch they had last month, last few weeks. But I'm looking at my scorecard because I got the score for – it was 11 men on base that the Yankees left behind here. You sure that was last night's game? Because I not too – yeah, I'm looking at the scorecard right here.
Probably 11 in scoring position.
In scoring position.
On base in total.
On base total.
If somebody's at first base, they're not in scoring position.
They're not in scoring position.
Yeah, so they left 19 men
on that.
Men
yeah.
on base.
Yeah, because they was like, man, I don't remember this game to be busted wide open. It was a close game.
Yeah,
it was a 3-0 game. A 3-0 game that felt like 10-0 though for the New York Yankees. But as you saw it, Oakland made it, a home run, put him right on that base. You're like, oh my God, this game could be tied. And where we are thinking it's a rocking chair game, which it wasn't. It was a close game. But if they continue to be a tough out, like we were mentioning yesterday, getting 20 hits, bludgeoning, and last night, other than the Judge home run, if you're going to have sprinkling Cabrera's hits and DJ LeMahieu's hits and other guys getting hits, running and going first or third, that's another element that the New York Yankees gets exciting to not only watch, to call, because you're not sitting and waiting, all right, here it goes, here's the bomb, and when they don't, strike 3, home run or nothing, gets boring. So I love this contact, first to third, and to me, if they're going to play like that, bring it on.
That's exactly what I've been saying for the last month and a half. That's what I loved about the first half of the season, is that we were playing that small ball. And Hector, you had went to this point too, over the course of that month and a half on the Yankees Morning Brew, which is we got to stop looking to drive the ball 500 feet. We got to start looking to play that small ball. Go back to doing that. We got to start playing in the sense of moving guys over. That scrappy form of baseball that we did back in the 90s. Take 96, for example, when they won the World Series. They didn't hit 200 home runs a season that year, or that season. They maybe hit half of that. And they were running, they were stealing, they were bunting, they were sacrificing, they were moving guys over, and they were playing the squeeze play game. Every time they had a runner on third, or 90% of the time, they would try to squeeze the runner in. So that's what I like about this team this year in the first half of the season, and now is that they're getting back to that, and that's what we need. What are your thoughts on that, Hector?
Oh, 100% agreed. Like you said, I've said it multiple times. Ultimately, when it comes to the postseason roster, Harrison Bader is definitely going to be on the postseason roster, and Tim LeCastro. I think Aaron is going to be left off the postseason roster because in the beginning of the year, a big part of this Yankee team, what made them dangerous was when John Carlos was on in the 8th inning or the 9th inning, where by a single or a double, Tim LeCastro was that pinch runner, and Tim LeCastro was scoring 80% of the time. So ultimately, when it comes to the postseason roster, I think the team that we're looking at right now is 75 or maybe 70% complete.
I agree.
You know, when we get to the postseason, I think we'll be a complete team. Clay Holmes will be back. Luis Severino will be back. Harrison Bader will be contributing with us. Tim LeCastro is going to be on the bench. So you're going to see a lot of people being left off. I'm going to give a quick shout out to Halal from Backstage Baseball. Yesterday when I was on his show, he brought up a great point about having Kyle Higashioka being left off the roster because IKF could be that backup catcher if need be. You know, you heard Aaron Boone talking about it yesterday. So if it comes down to it, with extra rest and extra days off in the postseason, you can have Jose Trevino being that everyday catcher. And say, for instance, if somebody does get hurt, then you could just put that person on the IL and then just bring Kyle Higashioka as the backup catcher. It just, I feel, will add a bit more dynamics and more versatility to the team. So credit to Halal for saying that yesterday.
I just want to credit Jason on something because he brought up a great point on the Returning To podcast, which I just saw today. Mm-hmm. Guys, if you have not seen Yankees Morning Brew or BX Sports Jedi, please subscribe to their channels. They have great stuff, as is 161 River Ave and Backstage Baseball. We want to support them. We want to show them love. They've done nothing but show me love. Let's show them some love. Subscribe to their channel. Check their stuff out. They've got good content. It's greatly appreciated for not only myself but their channels, and they also feel it's helpful for theirs as well. Anyways, Jason put out something today on the Turning Two podcast, which was really interesting. Ben Rover, who we have in the minors. So if you don't want to go that IKF route, you could go the Ben Rover route and have him be the backup to Lou Trevino. That might be an option you could go with. That way you can leave Aaron Hicks off the roster because Aaron Hicks is dead weight. Let's be honest here. Aaron Hicks is lazy. And him and Torres are gone after this year, personally. My feeling. We don't have a place for them, especially if they want to re-sign Benintendi, Matt Carpenter, and Aaron Judge, and then go out and get more pieces. There's no room for them. We can always trade package Hicks and Torres in a package together. Now, even if we have to eat some of that salary of Hicks, I'm okay with that. That gets him off our books. We don't have to worry about that. That, to me, is something that Jason put out, which was very interesting. Because now Ben Rover could be that backup catcher to Trevino and give him the day off if needed. Plus, he's got a rocket launcher of an arm. What do you have on that, Kev?
You know what? I mentioned it. I think the Yankees are going to bring three catchers. I know that dynamic that you mentioned. I would love to subscribe to that dynamic, but it's just seeing how Cashman has done it in the past year after year with their playoff roster. I think the Yankees were going to bring three catchers to the dance. I would love them to have the pinch runner extraordinaire on there. I think they're going to go that route as well. That's why a guy with a versatility with a Marlon Gonzalez and a Cabrera who could play multiple positions. I mean, all over. You could spread them all over. Those guys are going to be valuable for the team because you could play Cabrera in right, you could play him in short, you could play him at third, second base, as well as Gonzalez. Although we all think that Gonzalez might be DFA, but remember that Gonzalez only has 3 to 4 days left before the expanded roster, so he could be safe. So I don't think he's going anywhere just yet. Center field, I don't know. I don't know what they, maybe like I was telling you yesterday, Bader's gonna have to have a master September if he's gonna make the roster. So he's gonna, so I hope so. I hope so. And if that happens the way the plan that was mentioned prior to me, I'm all right with it. But you still I still think you're gonna need to carry 2 catchers just in case.
I agree, but before we move on, I just want to hit up the chat.
I think.
David, couldn't agree with you more. Unfortunately, I feel as if small ball, station-to-station offense approach isn't encouraged enough by Boone and his coaching crew and up. That I agree with. I agree with that 100%. You're not wrong about that. It should be more looked upon because that's what wins ball games. Udall, who's a part of the 161 River Ave crew, Udall, salute my guy. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Much love to you. It's no problem. We'll always catch you again on another video or live stream. No worries, man. Do you? And thank you again. But as you were saying, Hector, with the whole
I was just agreeing with Kev with his last statement when it comes to Hader. But I think just Hader walking in that locker room in that dugout, he's just going to be well improved over Hicks because Hicks's time is done. I think Hicks is going to be left off the roster, and Harrison Bader is just a better center fielder overall defensively. And I think just that alone will have him a postseason roster. Guarantee he has to come in and show that he can play the position and he has to be able to actually do the job. Yeah, definitely. No one's going to give it to him automatically. But I think he definitely, if I was a betting person, I would definitely put money on it that he'll definitely make the roster over Aaron Hicks.
Now, here's an interesting point. We have Bader for another, 2 years or so? He's under team control?
He has the same team control like Gleyber Torres, so it's 2.5 years left.
Okay, so we have 2.5 years of Harrison Bader. So now let's say we do get rid of Hicks. Hicks is gone. Bye. See ya. Have a nice one. Good luck in your career, whatever. Now let's say Bader comes in.
Hit him straight.
Plays extremely well now. Let's say he's back off of injury. Plays well now. Does that automatically tell Hicks he's not on the postseason roster and he's probably his days are over?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I'm in one of the minorities of it because
so.
He's a switch hitting hitter, a switch hitting center fielder who can play center field, left field. That's why I think. Remember, it's us as a fans. We can't stand him. We want him gone. But it's all about what the general manager thinks.
Yes,
that's the unfortunately situation. That's why I hate to be the one to bust the bubble and be like, oh my God, he's such a freaking heel. But no, it's because what the general manager thinks. And I think he's going to force feed us that. He's going to go down with that guy, man. And I hate it. That's why I hope he goes play golf, man. Go to live golf, please. Give him all the millions of dollars that you're giving the players. Take him.
I don't even think the Saudi Arabian government even wants to have anything to do with Aaron Hicks.
He's a switch hitting golfer. Come on, man. You could use the switch hitting golfer.
They're like, no. He can't make it in New York. No. But when it comes to Hicks, I think I have to just disagree with you, Kev, just a little bit. I think you saw Cashman. I think Cashman has no faith in Aaron Hicks anymore because why would he trade a starting pitcher for center fielder? If he had so much faith in Aaron Hicks and being that switch hitter center fielder, he wouldn't have given up a quality arm in Jordan Montgomery to replace him. I honestly believe that he's tired of Hicks. And when you look at Aaron Hicks right now, his role is turning into what Joey Gallo role was before Joey Gallo left. Right before Joey Gallo was going off this team, he was batted in the ninth hole. He wasn't an everyday player anymore. And now that's what's happening to Aaron Hicks. I think that if the Yankees front office and the analytic department really had faith in Aaron Hicks, Jordan Montgomery would still be on this team, and we wouldn't even have made that deal for Harrison Bader. But I just think analytically, when you look at it, there's nothing analytically that helps Aaron Hicks. Defensively, he is horrible. Like, he is just horrible in every metric that there is defensively. When it comes to his hitting stats, he's horrible as well. He is way below average as a hitter. So I think that the analytic department is done. And the only reason he's still on this team is because he has this year, next year, and the year after left on his contract. That's the only reason he has him in DFA, because he has $40 million left.
It's a scary thought to think that someone who is not producing is getting paid $40 million for the next 3-4 seasons. It's hard to fathom that we have that. Dead weight is what it is. It's complete and utter dead weight.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if you guys saw, but on the schedule for next year, and I know you're going to bring this up on Yankees Morning Brew on Monday, but what do you guys think of the schedule for next year? For the Yankees and every other team playing every team, and 28% of those games are against the National League.
I like Kev. You go first.
All right. I mentioned it before. It's very NBA-ish. Very NBA balanced schedule. At first, I'm going to change. I'm going to change a little bit of my stance there. Remember, I mentioned yesterday I don't like it. Too NBA-ish. You know, you're give us American National League. But now I started thinking about another perspective. The fan. I'm a fan who lives in either St. Louis, Pittsburgh, you know, Arizona, whatever the case is. At least I get to see the Yankees once a year instead of every 4 years. You know, let's face it. Or you get to, you know, it helps everyone see everybody at least one time. You know, you know what? I'm starting to warm up to it. I'm not 100% comfortable with the schedule, but I kind of get their gimmick, why they want to go with it. But the minute they have rainouts, they hope they have that in consideration. Rainouts, you know, postponements and all that other stuff. That's where we're gonna find out if this is a great idea or the most stupidest idea there ever been. That's just my take on it.
Hector?
Personally, me, I haven't fully dissected the schedule. I was waiting to do that on Monday's show. But from what I've saw so far, like Kev's point, he stole the words right out of my mouth. If I'm a fan that lives in either Colorado or St. Louis or Pittsburgh, that you normally don't get to see the Yankees play your team, or even you don't have the cable package, you can't even afford the package to watch, you know, the MLB Network, you can watch them on your local TV station, you know. So to me, I think that's great for baseball. It allows every team to play each other at least one series out the year. I think that's awesome for the game. And as well, it helps me when I'm planning my vacation, because now I'm planning a vacation next year of going out to Colorado to see the Yankees versus the Colorado Rockies. So I'll be able to go see the game, and the tickets won't cost me an arm and a leg like they would at Yankee Stadium. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Not only that, more edibles.
And you know,
more edibles.
I was just about to say Denver has a very well-known vegan market that I'm going to check out. You know, very vegan-esque. You know.
So I'm not going to get into that now because I'm saving that for Monday for your show, Hector, because I got to rant about that, and that's going to take a good minute. But it doesn't – I'll just say it does not sit well with me personally, and I'll give the brief reason on why. Because if you're doing that, then you might as well just not have a National or American League. You might as well just put everybody in one giant league and just call it a day.
Agree.
This could be leading to it. Honestly, this could be leading to it. This honestly could be leading to no more American League. And when we go to the like, you may have it that the Yankees and the Mets may be in the same division in the future.
That sucks if it does.
Yeah.
I don't like it in hockey. I do not like it in hockey. I don't like it in basketball. Especially, I mean, basketball it is what it is already, but I hate it in hockey. I hope they don't go that way.
No.
Well,
But
there's rumors of two expansion teams, right? One's definitely going to go to Vegas, and another expansion team that's going to go to Montreal.
Hmm.
interesting. If you find out anything about that, let me know because I'd love to hear about that.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I'll look. I'll find the
that-
article that I was reading and send it to you.
awesome. So I don't know if you guys know about the A's and how big of a dumpster fire that stadium that they have is, and how trashy it is. But Jason and I have been talking about the A's in their new stadium, and I have a feeling the reason why nobody goes to those games is A, ownership, B, the team, and C, probably most importantly, that stadium. That stadium looks like it's about to fall apart if it hasn't started already. But, anyways, they're talking about down at the Howard Terminal, I think it is. It's down in Oakland. I have to look it up, but down there, they have not they have plans on where they're going to build. Uh, they would build their new stadium. The other, yeah, so it is Howard Terminal, and it'd be called Howard Terminal Ballpark. But the other thing I heard was that Las Vegas was going to be a possibility for them, but it fell through. Now I told you about this a little bit last night on your watch along, Kev. Is there's an old casino there? It's either the Trump or the MGM casino. It's one of them that's no longer used, and it's right by where the Raiders play on that strip. The biggest strip in Las Vegas. They were going to tear that down and turn that into their stadium. What do you think about that? What do you guys think about that? I'll throw it to Kevin, then I'll throw it to Hector.
Well, first of all, we've got to find out if the new stadium is accommodating for adult movies, because as we know in the current Oakland stadium, they film good adult movies in there.
Giggity, 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 giggity.
But all jokes aside, Oakland moving to Las Vegas, it looks like it makes sense. Follow the Raiders' path there, because there's so much more issues than getting taxpayers' money, and I don't want to bring it in that realm. Just for a new stadium, if it's going to be privately funded, which we know they don't invest in the team, just go to Las Vegas, just go move the team, and a few years later, once the city and economics and all that stuff works, maybe reach an expansion team to Oakland. Let's face it, they're not going to spend, even if they get a new stadium, they're not going to invest in the team. We'll like them just to relocate to Las Vegas. Long story short on that.
Don't forget their AAA team out over there as well.
Yes.
So
yeah, the way they even handled that AAA team, like at the beginning of the pandemic, was laughable. They literally let go so many players, fired so many people. That's disgusting. Just so they could save money, and they still took money from PPP. But anywho, when it comes to the Oakland A's, like Kev said, they don't put any money into the team, right?
No.
So if you are a public municipality like Oakland, right, and you're willing to give up public funds to fund that stadium, you need that team to guarantee that every year their payroll is going to be $100 million, point blank, period. If you're going to build the stadium for them so they could just, we're going to hire people minimum wage for 6 months out the year, what they do. But I need you to also make sure you're guaranteeing that your payroll will be $100 million a year minimum. If we're going to spend money to build your stadium, that's the guarantee that you're going to have to agree to. And I think Oakland's not going to, because if you look at Oakland's payroll, they're in the bottom half. They're the bottom 5, if not the bottom 10 payroll in the league, and it has been the same trajectory over the past 10 or 15 years, right? So ultimately, I think they're going to move to Los Angeles, and it's sad because when you look at the history of the A's, not the Oak, but just the A's itself, moving from Kansas City to Oakland, now Oakland to Los Angeles, to Las Vegas, it's just a bad taste for the sport, and I'm not sure if the owners going forward are even going to want that team to be called the A's or the Athletics if they move for a third time or a fourth time in the future. I just don't know.
I agree with that. So something interesting about that you just mentioned, Hector, which was they're going to want to pay the minimum of $100 million, and they're not going to do it. We all know that. They're a small market team, like you said. I don't know if you've seen the movie Moneyball, where Brad Pitt says we're not going
Love
to
that
compete
movie.
with these big teams. There's the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and then there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us. They're at the bottom of the barrel. So he makes a good point when he says that, though. They're not going to be spending a ton of money. So it's going to be hard to sell that to them. But I agree with you. They should invest into the team in order for people to want to go see them and want to fund them. So I agree with that. So there's got to be some give to get. It's just like what we talked about at the deadline. In order to get something, you got to give something.
Mike, I want to ask you real quick, you and Kev real quick, right? If you guys were from Oakland, right, and you guys were diehard fans and you grew up, since the 80s and 90s being fans of just Oakland sports, you got the Oakland Warriors who left to San Francisco, the Oakland Raiders who left to Las Vegas, and you got the Oakland A's who has been a dumpster fire ever since they won that championship in the 80s with La Russa and Canseco. Why would you still invest your time into watching that team?
I wouldn't.
You got teased with the Jason Giambi's days there. Oakland hasn't been so bad. They've remember we knocked them out a couple times in the wild card games. So they've been competitive despite being not making a lot of money. If I'm an Oakland member, the Golden State Warriors become one of the most dominant franchises in NBA. I know it's across, it's still in the area. It's tough. That's a tough one. You also got the 49ers. They got a new stadium in Santa Clara.
It's a nice stadium.
It's not that bad as sports-wise in that area. Really, the San Francisco Giants. I know if you're it's like Yankee Mets. You don't root. If you're an athletics, you're not going to be a San Francisco Giant fan. Although I guarantee they're losing a generation of young players in that area going over to the Giants side. But you're right, Hector. It is kind of a little bit of a doom and gloom if you're an athletic fan because you don't see no hope in the future. You're going to see rinse and repeat. We're going to put a good team. We're going to develop, but then we're going to trade them to the Yankees or the Red Sox because we can't afford them. Yeah.
But it's the same. But it's the same situation like with the Miami Marlins, right, Kev? The Miami Marlins, they won in '96, a tear down of the team. They win in 2003, a tear down of the team. The team had Miguel Cabrera, Hanley Ramirez, Giancarlo Stanton, the guy in Milwaukee,
Christian Yelich,
so many great young, but you tear it down, and then you had this new regime that came in with Jeter, who did the same exact thing. If you're a fan, why are you going to try to invest your time into a team that doesn't seem like they give you the same in return?
That's true. You're right. Just give me 1 second. I want to, acknowledge the chat for a second. I want to say salute to Molly and to Jonathan and to you guys who came in. Greatly appreciate you. I appreciate y'all stopping by. It's very helpful. And if you guys have not subscribed to Jedi BX Sports channel, please do so. He's got a watch along at night or whenever the Yankees play. It's a lot of fun, and you should definitely check it out and subscribe to him. Yankees Morning Brew every Monday through Friday from 11 to 12:30. He also Hector does a great job with his great channel, great information. Subscribe to his. Hit that bell icon for both so you don't miss out on anything. Same with River Ave 161. That's for Jason and also Hillel of Backstage Baseball. All four of those guys have outstanding content. Do not forget to subscribe to them and hit that bell icon. Kev, if you want to put your channel's link in the chat, please do so. And we'll make sure we get you guys some more subscribers and whatnot and get you guys rolling. But there's one thing that bothers me. I just wanted to put out about what's going on with the A's. The A's have the potential to make that city love them again. But they don't. They don't take the time to invest and fans who go to pay to see them are saying, "Here's our money. We're going to pay to go watch your team." But the ownership is like, "No, thanks for the money, but we're not going to give you anything in return. We're just going to slap you across the face and say, 'Ha, guess what? Got you again.'" That's not, to me. That's not fair, and that bothers me a little bit. It's like what you said, Hector, with Miami. They did it when they won their championships in '97 and '03, and they just tore down their teams. It's like, how is that fair to the teams?
They
Or
they had,
to
they
the,
had a team. I'm sorry, but they had a team that had Randy Johnson and Mike Piazza on the same team at the same time. How do you trade those players? How do you tear that team apart? I'm sorry.
no, that's a great point. That's a great point. How do you tear those teams apart? Those are the faces of your franchise. Those are the faces that are going to make your franchise money. That is who people want to see. They don't want to see a player who's not going to do anything, like an Aaron Hicks or a Gleyber Torres, who's going to be lazy and not care about the game. They want to see guys who are going to electrify the crowd, like a Mike Piazza or a Randy Johnson. Take Pedro Martinez. As much as us Yankee fans hate him, and I don't blame us for hating him because he was one of those kinds of people, but he electrified a stadium everywhere he pitched. It didn't matter if it was Philadelphia. It didn't matter if it was with the Mets. It didn't matter if it was with the Red Sox. He electrified that stadium every time he pitched. Take a look at his best year, 1999, when he was an all-star and started that all-star game in Boston. What was the one thing that he did that we can't say we've seen in years? He struck out the National League's top 3 hitters: Sosa, McGuire, and I forgot the other one, but he had struck him out 3 in a row or something like that. But he electrified that crowd. That doesn't come around very often anymore. What are your thoughts?
Well, first and foremost, when it comes to that, years later, George, rest in peace, George Steinbrenner had a point, about giving away his money to small market teams when they don't invest in it. Remember, he was big in proponent of getting a luxury tax. So why should I give you my money to teams to put in other teams' organization when they're not going to invest in it? So years later, look at the Oakland Athletics. Their highest paid player is Sean Murphy, and I think he's what, $5 million or $2.5 million. $5 million. That's atrocious. And I'm getting sure they got like 50 to 75 million collectively from all the luxury tax money from the teams up above. So you can't cry, oh, we need a salary cap. The Yankees and the Dodgers and so forth wasted so much money on buying players, and we cry in poverty, but you're getting a handout and you're not investing it on the team. If you're not even paying your own players. You're willing to trade a Manaya, Montas. You're willing to trade some, Olsen. You had good players on your team. If you would have told me I'd given them a contract extension on that money that you receive, all right, I understand where baseball salary cap and from the luxury tax is working. But when you don't even invest on those players to keep, there's something wrong there. And I don't blame. And that's why I'm like, we could spend another 3 hours on why it doesn't work in our opinion.
Oh yeah, and the sad thing about it, right? When you look at the Oakland A's, I'm looking at it right now. This is from a website that I like to look. It's called Statista, right? It breaks down different corporations and stuff like that. The Oakland A's, revenue-wise, in 2021, from the stadium alone, made $208 million.
What?
$208 million from the stadium alone, from ticket sales, from the vendors, from the food, from the jersey sales, Oakland A's, because the Oakland A's, like their hat is still one of the top sellers in all of baseball, right?
Yeah.
The Oakland A's, from revenue alone, made $208 million, but they want to have a salary of less than $50 million. And like Kev pointed out, when you have the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Red Sox and the Mets paying so much in luxury tax, the Oakland A's are not even paying their payroll. So they're
Yeah.
literally just banking money, and it's disgusting.
It is.
Don't forget
Honestly,
about
to be honest.
the adult movies that gets filmed there too.
Yeah, and then they don't even. When you look up these profits, Kevin, you're a clown, bro. When you look up these profits, right? They only show the stadium revenue. They don't let you know what the cable deal is. They don't let you know what they make on the TV deal and the cable deals. They don't let you know what they make on that. They only let you know what they make from the stadium profits. So just imagine $208 million they made in 2021, the year after the pandemic, and they will and they don't even want to let you know what they make cable and TV deals.
That's crazy. Now,
Give me 2 seconds. I just got to change my headphones.
Just imagine
like
they
that.
make a nice stadium, a new stadium, and they charge an OnlyFans section for all those adult movie films.
Yeah.
My God, Oakland Athletics, put me a target. Hey, Billy Bean, I can help you make some money, man. Call me, man. Call me.
So a couple more topics, and then we're going to wrap it up. So standing wise, for the standings in the wild card, if the season were to end today, this is how the American League would look. Coming out of the West, it would be Houston with an 81-46 record. Coming out of the East would be the Yankees with a 78-48 record. Coming out of the Central would be Cleveland with a 66-58 record. And the three wild cards would be Tampa Bay, Toronto, and Seattle. And in the National League, out of the West, it would be the Dodgers with an 87-37 record. The Mets with an 81-46 record. St. Louis with a 72-54 record. And then the three wild cards would be Atlanta, Philadelphia, and San Diego. That would make for an interesting playoffs, my personal opinion. I think the AL would be the more interesting league to watch just because of Seattle and Toronto and Tampa as your wild cards. What do you guys think? Hector, I'm starting off with you and then throw it over to Kev.
I love how the playoffs are starting to shape up. I really want the Baltimore Orioles to make it in. I don't care which one of the wild team cards got to get eliminated. I want to see the Baltimore Orioles make the postseason as a wild card team. I'm just super excited. I just want to see how these playoffs are going to shape out, how the first year of this new playoff system, the number one seed, the second seed are having that extra week off, that extra round off. So I just want to see how that's going to shape up because in baseball, Kevin, Michael, you guys know a team that has too many days off during each series, sometimes they lose that momentum, they lose that mojo that they had, and they have to figure it out. So it's kind of hard for me to kind of be excited if you're a number one or number two seed, knowing you have like a week off while the other teams short themselves out. So I just want to see how it shape up. If I get the fast forward button to November, I definitely would right now because the anticipation is just through the roof.
Yeah. Kev?
Yeah, right now I am rooting hard for the Baltimore Orioles to be that third wildcard team. I don't want to see Seattle. I want those idiots to suffer and not make the playoffs because you guys want to be clowns and take Luis Castillo away from the New York Yankees. I hope you guys perish and you're going to lose and lose every game in September. You coffee drinking cloud doom and gloom of a franchise.
Oh, jeez.
You know, Mikey Mazza lives in Washington State, bro. You know that, right? You know that's the area.
Hey, Mike, right now. You say you're leaving out here, so that's why I'm more than happy to.
I don't really care if we go there, but it's all good. No worries. It's all good to crack jokes about it. But anyways, what would you think of this? So let's say Toronto just crashes and burns for all intents and purposes. Okay? Seattle goes on a run. They overtake Toronto. And then Baltimore, out of nowhere, who mind you is only 2.5 out of that third wild card, comes up and takes Toronto and knocks them out. And then your wild cards would be Tampa, Seattle, and Baltimore. What would you guys think of that?
I'm all right with that too. Because Vladimir Guerrero celebrates like everything is a World Series when he beats the Yankees. You know what? Go and then that stupid jacket. They could take that stupid jacket and shove it sideways and put it straight up their candy asses out of here.
Yeah, I kind of like the jacket. I kind of like the jacket. I don't want the wild card teams just to be American League East teams. You know, selfishly, I want to see other teams. So if I can choose, I want, you know, the Baltimore Orioles to be one, the Seattle Mariners to be another one, and the either the Minnesota Twins or Chicago White Sox to be that third team.
We need our punching bag. We need the Twins.
Yeah, we need the Twins. We need our punching bag in the postseason.
Yeah. So, if I am correct, and I'm not sure if this is right or not, but I think it's the first, second, and third seeds get the bye, and then the fourth and fifth seeds, which are your other two wild cards, battle it out, and then the winner of that series would play the number 3 seed to see who moves on. Or no, the winner of the 4 and 5 would play the number 3 or whoever it would be, and then they would do it like that. So it would be 1, and I guess 1 and 2 would get buys, and then your number 3 seed would get a bye as well, I think, or it's something of that nature. I don't know if that's correct. I'd have to look it up and get back to you, but
I have.
I want to commend you though. You did your best Omar Minaya impersonation. I love that.
One thing is like I want to ask you guys, what do you think is more confusing? The new playoff structure and how to explain it, or the catcher blocking home plate, that rule? What is more confusing to explain?
Hector, you're on point, man. My goodness, yes.
I'll tell you what, I think it's both that are both confusing. Because how are you going to have 6 playoff teams and then not explain it in a way that everyone can understand it? Only
there's no explanation needed.
Exactly.
It's money at the end of the day. They don't need to explain. This is what we got to understand. The Major League Baseball as an organization and a corporation aren't beholden to us as fans. Whatever they put out there on the field, they know we're going to buy. No matter if they decided, you know what, and they're going to start doing this soon. You heard next year and the year after they're going to announce you're able to put like ads on the jerseys. So you're going to start seeing baseball jerseys start looking like soccer jerseys after a while. Like,
but the whole catcher blocking the home plate rule, to me, is a little. It's in that gray area, because that's what a catcher's job is supposed to do, is to block the plate. Now, if let's say the ball is coming in on a throw, right, from the outfield, and it leads him into the runner's lane, right, and he has to get there to catch the ball, but he can't block the plate, how is that going to work? Like, how do you call a runner safe if the ball is leading the catcher into that lane? Does he have to get out and get back in, or like what? I never have understood that rule. Well, Kev, what do you think?
No, I agree with you. All of that was to protect the paper mache, formerly known as Buster Posey. That's all it was. Too bad he was a little bit of a paper mache and he couldn't handle it. You should have went to play first base, kid. I mean, catchers is tough. You had an all-star game with Pete Rose. My God, knocked that ran into the back. I myself have caused a shoulder separation to a poor kid when I played, and I was literally, barreling, and that's part of the game. You were told you do whatever it takes to score that run. And I personally, I think in a sport that doesn't have much contact, that was an exciting play, and they took it out. But I get the point about safety, had concussions, yada yada yada. But you're a catcher. You got the helmet. You got all these pads.
You got a lot of gear.
Yeah, you got a lot of gear on, and then you worry about a guy running coming from third. I get it. I get it. But
how I interpret the rule, reading the rule, I literally looked it up a couple nights ago. So every interpretation of the rule is like this, right? You have to give the runner a segue for him to score, right? That before you have the ball. As soon as you have the ball, you can block the play, you can block the runner, you can do whatever you can, like they used to do in the
right.
old days, right? But you have to have the ball in your glove. You have to have the ball first before you do any of that. So if you're setting up, if you're blocking the plate and you don't have the ball, you're not giving the runner a lane for them to slide. You know, that's why they would just barrel and bum rush over you. You have to be able to give the runner a little bit, like you saw it in the Mets game, right? It was a perfect example in the Mets game when Jose Trevino gave the runner a lane to go, right? But as soon as he grabbed the ball, he blocked the play. Now, if you want to complain that, oh, the ball's going to get there, but, you know, it's going to give chance for the runner to score, then put it on your outfielder to throw the ball correctly then. Don't have him throwing it where the catch has to go out of his way to try to get the ball. That falls now on the position player, not on the catcher or the runner. It's confusing. It needs to be explained more, but I literally had to like look it up and then find like 4 major league umpires online to explain it to me.
Yeah. All right, guys. So last topic before we wrap it up, tonight's game. Game 3 of 4 against Oakland. Tonight it is the German Sunday. Domingo Germán going for the 78-48 Yankees at 2-2 with the 3.89 ERA. And then for the Oakland, the 46-81 Oakland Athletics, they have Adam Aller at 2-6 and a 6.41 ERA going for him. What are your predictions? What do you think is going to happen tonight? What you think? What are you thinking the amount of runs are going to be scored tonight? I'm going to start it off with Kev. I'm going to throw it over to Hector, and then we'll wrap it up. And deuces. Kev?
Yeah, first of all, you guys know that you guys have your invite, the link for the watch along tonight. So it's there. Join us. We're going to have the Yankee watch along on the VS Sports Jedi Network, the Bronx Bombers Strike Back watch along and play by play. A little cheap plug, but Domingo Germán. Personally, I think Domingo Germán tonight is going to show me if it's going to be a pitcher that's trustworthy. You know, he has a couple of starts in a row, which were phenomenal or good. You know, not phenomenal, good. He beat Scherzer. He was really good against Scherzer. He's little inching by inching getting into that circle of trust. We could trust as a pitcher. Now, this is the Oakland Athletic team was right now really dismal, pathetic. And if you go out there and you show me you could cruise by them and have a rocking chair game, I could trust you. If you're going to struggle with the Athletics, I'm going to have that Heckle and Jekyll. What am I going to get from a Domingo Germán? Tonight, I think if he pitches, he's the main thing. It always starts with the starting pitcher. If he goes out there and gives us, 6 innings or 5 2/3 of an inning of 1 run, 2 runs, 7 hits, maybe, 3 walks, I'll take it myself. But we have to have the Yankees hitting parade. I didn't look at the scouting report because as I setting up right now, I'm going to do a wrestling pro and then in the game to set up. Is he a right-handed or left-handed pitcher for the Oakland Athletics, Mike?
I can let you know right now. Give me 1 second. He is, let's see here, Aller. He is a right-handed pitcher.
So you're going to see Rizzo back in the lineup. You're going to see Benintendi in the lineup. Those guys are starting, Benintendi's starting to get hot. Cabrera, I haven't seen the lineup hasn't come out yet because I'm waiting for it to be posted to set up the lineups and I like to do. So I think the Yankees tonight win. I'm hoping this is a rocking chair game similar to what we had on Thursday. Not a nail. It wasn't really much of a nail biter, but it got dicey. I think Yankees win. I think we extend it to 6.
Where would you like to see Benintendi batting before we throw it over to Kev or to Hector?
You know what? Good question. I would love to see that lineup that we had before, where we saw Benintendi 1, LeMahieu 2, or LeMahieu, or some that were 1 and 2, LeMahieu. Pick and flip. As long as they're in the top 5, either one, I'm all right. If you want to keep LeMahieu leading off, I'm good with it. But I need Benintendi to bat 4 or 5. But it all depends on Rizzo's playing. This is gonna first time I think me gonna see it, watch long, and call it. Now finally all healthy with Giancarlo Stanton. Remember, it was Stanton when we got Benintendi, he wasn't much in it. He was the All-Star break and he was out. So we're finally gonna see this team kind of whole. So I'm kind of interested and intrigued. That's why I'm keep refreshing to see that lineup, because I think I'm gonna get excited when I see that lineup tonight.
Hector?
Agreed, Kev, with every point. As well, you can catch the Yankees Morning Brew on the Nights of Dejan channel. Just a quick plug. We have Jerry Ferrara coming on this Tuesday. We also will be having Scott Braun for the MLB Network, who will be coming on September 6th. Can't wait for that. And as well, Seminetti from NYY Source will be on September 14th. And I can't wait for that as well. And in October, there's a little something we're doing with bar stools. We just got to keep it on the hush for right now. But that will be coming up for the playoffs. So everything is going awesome with the Yankees Morning Brew. I appreciate you, Miles, and I appreciate you, Kev, for being contributors and for helping me out launching this. It's been an amazing time so far this season. But now back onto this team. When it comes to the lineup tonight, I want to see Benintendi, I want to see Judge, and I want to see Stanton, Rizzo, and then I want to see DJ LeMahieu. I want DJ to be Rizzo's protection the same way that Stanton is Judge's protection. I need LeMahieu to be Rizzo's protection. That way, it's not Gleyber Torres or Josh Donaldson, because you're just going to pitch around Rizzo, right? Lengthen up that lineup. Have Benintendi, Judge, Stanton, Rizzo, and DJ. Let our 1 through 5 speak for himself. Then you could put Cabrera wherever you want to put him. You could put Donaldson, Gleyber, however you want to do it. Tonight with Domingo Germán, right? When you look at Domingo Germán's stats, and I pointed it out before, but Domingo Germán, he's 7 starts, right? He has 1 start, he's given up 5 runs. That's against the Astros. Then another start, he gave up 3 runs. And then after that, it's only 2 or 1 run. He's averaging 5 in a third or 5.2 thirds of an inning and only giving up 2.5 runs a game. I can take that from Domingo Germán. When you look at his stats, the last stat against the Mets, he pitched 6 in the third, 2 runs. Against Tampa, 4 and 2 thirds, 3 runs. Then Boston, 6 innings, 1 run. St. Louis, 5 innings, 1 run. Seattle, 5 innings, 2 runs. The New York Mets, again, 4.2 with only 2 runs. To me, so far, I could take that from Domingo Germán, because you could just turn it over to the bullpen. For the playoffs, I would love to see a rotation if we have to. Put Severino in that bullpen. Let Severino be a monster in that bullpen. And let that 4th starter be a combination of Domingo Germán and Clark Smith. That way, they could only see the lineup 1 to 2 times around. That's it. Analytics say you don't want the starting pitcher to see the lineup 3 times. If you have Domingo Germán going 3 innings, Clark Smith going 3 innings, or them going 4 innings apiece, I think that would be a perfect way to keep the lineup, off balance.
I agree.
I agree. Hector, let me throw something real quick. Hector, now in September, would you like to see Davy Garcia a chance to get in the bullpen?
Yes, because if you look at Davy Garcia's numbers in the minors, he started off very, very rocky, but he picked it up, and he's having a solid season down there in the minors. And Halal and myself was talking about him yesterday on Backstage Baseball. Go watch that video.
So I agree with both of y'all on that. I do think the Yankees will win tonight. I think Germán, like you said, will pitch good, because over his last 2 starts, especially against Mad Max, who he outdueled, will pitch just fine tonight. I think the Yankees will win. And like both of you said, Benintendi has to be at the top of that lineup. He cannot be batting 6th again, because he does his most damage at the top of that lineup, either 1 or 2. I don't care where you put him, but he's got to be up there. He cannot be at the bottom like he started out and was last night. But I do think the Yankees win, and I think that we will take the series tonight. And then tomorrow I think we will do well, because we got Clark Schmidt going tomorrow. As a little heads up about that, we got Clark Schmidt pitching tomorrow against Oakland's what's his name? Zach Loud, who is a left-handed pitcher. But that will be for another day. But for everyone in the chat, I want to thank all y'all for coming out. I want to thank my two guests, Hector from Yankees Morning Brew and Kevin from BX Sports Network, or BX Jedi Sports Network. Tonight, Kevin will have his watch along, so he's will be on tonight for that game. Just remember, please subscribe to their channels. Hit that bell icon. Please subscribe to my channel. It's greatly appreciated and very helpful for my channel as well as theirs. Hit that bell icon for 161 River Ave. Jason, do the same for him. And Halal of Backstage Baseball, do that for him as well. Show them love, show them support. They've shown me love and support since I've started my channel. So let's give them some love and support. I'm your boy, Fortran Express. Kev, I will see you tonight. Hector, if you were there, I will see y'all tonight as well. Until next time, peace, love. See y'all next time.
Peace.